So the first job we've got to do is put some wrap on the wrapper on the back of it. So you imagine that now, like cow. The Kuhn system, I don't think it's beaten in the market, to be honest. It's bloody good, to be fair. So it's Monday morning and I'm on my way to the field with the Kuhn Combi Baler that Joe dropped off from Right Agri. So first impressions, certainly has a presence on the road, a sort of traffic calming presence. Everyone seems to pull over for you, whether that's just out of respect or fear, I'm not sure. But it does feel pretty wide on the road, so it's got to be a little bit careful. It tows lovely, so twin axles on these Kuhn combis. You don't get any bouncing about with the baler, it's not shunting around. I've got it on the pickup hitch. We run our existing baler with a shim in the hitch and run it on the drawbar. I'm reliably told that we don't need to. With the PTO shaft on these and the setup on them, we can run these straight off the hook, which is possibly advantageous for not having to keep changing over from hook to drawbar. I'm not getting any slap. It feels good behind you. These are braked. Our current baler, the 3130, those single axle balers don't have braking on them. They're not as heavy. This has got a fair bit more mass behind it, and the braking's really nice. It does just progressively slow you up. That's on an oil braking system, there's no air on it. But that brake's lovely, so that's good and reassuring. So yeah, she tows nice. Just got to watch the width a little bit. So we've just got to the field now, all raked up, ready for us to go. It's a fairly light crop on here. The field to my side is a GS4 mix, quite a lot of chicory in there, so I think that one we're going to chop. And just as I pulled up, Joe from Right Agri's just turned up. So the first job we've got to do is put some wrap on the wrapper on the back of it. We carry this without any wrap on there. Yeah, one quick observation to make. The wrapper arm just feels a bit exposed. I'm not used to it, and you can't see it when you're out the tractor cab. So I think the do an option to be able to put cameras on here. I think it'd be a really useful addition. I think if we were to have one of these, we'd definitely have it with cameras. Right, we'll get some wrap on. That's better, isn't it? That's easier. So Joe's just going to push this button here, and that's from road mode into fields. I'll just show you that now. So by pressing that button, you'll see now that that'll rotate. And that's got it to its starting position now, ready to go in the field. We'll lift this hood up. We've got 5 rolls of film, so we can load either side from the baler straight to where we need it. Nice how these rolls just hinge over, so it's nice and easy to slide straight off.
Everything's at chest height on this, whereas some of the competition, you're up here putting rolls on, you just won't be doing that.
Yeah.
We've got a nice little diagram on here. Dead simple. Got a nice little knot in the end of it now, Rick. That'll just slot in down around there like that. And don't forget to put your tree stretchers in again.
That's back on there. And
we're away.
As far as the diagram showing us which way the film's going around, that's just here. There's a sticker here, so you can't go wrong. So from down here, we've got some external controls. So let's have a quick look at this. So we can twist the bale round on the table. So maybe if there was a misalignment or something like that and you want to adjust the bale, we can send the bale forward or backwards and wriggle around with that. Maybe there's an operation that's gone wrong, or we've had a breakdown or a problem, whatever, we can move that bale around for any purpose. We've also got this one here, and that's, what's that one doing?
That operates your knives. So when you come to the end of your day in the field, you can pop them up, you can pull the wrap out that's already trapped in the knives from your left bale.
That's handy. So rather when obviously we've put this in a start position now with a wrap, when we finish wrapping, that won't be there. That'll be held under the gripper by the knives. When we want to take these rolls off for transport, you can just use that to open up the knife gripper holder so the plastic comes out. Otherwise you'd have to cut the thing off and you have a tag of plastic blown around. That's a bad scene. So that'll open up the knives. Obviously when you've opened up the knives, to get it back into its position so it can set its sequence, you can just drop those clamps back down so it will start its sequence again. That makes loads of sense. That's for the table, so that's quite self-explanatory. If we want to kick a bale off manually, we've got a problem, issue, whatever else, we can come down here, flick the bale off and then reset its position. The same here for the bale transfer, so that's that little table there. If you want to show us that now, Joe. So this is, when we've opened the baler, that's what the bale's going to drop out onto there. That lifts up. You can imagine the bale's going to roll from there onto here, and then this table will then come up into the work position, ready to start wrapping. So we can do, if we come across any problems whatsoever with a bale that's just mispresented or for whatever reason we've got an issue, we've got the controls right where we need them. We're not back into in the tractor cab. We can play with the baler here just to get it back into its setup. Not something, to be honest, I think we'll probably use very often. It's not the kind of thing you use on a regular basis, but at least it's there to be able to sort out an issue, because invariably when we all get tired, something goes out of sequence or something goes wrong, it's much easier to see what you're doing than it is trying to alter this and mess around and manipulate anything from the cab. So that's great that we've got the controls here. And then lastly, we've got the control there to open the back door. So that gets the back open. I see into the bale chamber that we're empty, we're clean. So we've just about finished baling this field. There's a little tiny bit where we came in at the gate to do on the way out, but I've just been having a play, getting used to it. So we're in a pretty light crop on here, and it dried out, really frizzled up yesterday in about 31 degrees. But considering such a light crop and short material, knives aren't in it. I think that's a pretty good bale. I mean, it's not knife edge, but it ain't bad. Not bad at all. We don't get, there's no difference in that and what we're getting out of our current baler. There shouldn't be, because our current baler is exactly the same front end of this. But I think that's a damn good bale shape. What's really nice is this has got load cells on the table at the back. The baling session that you're doing on that counter, it'll tell you the average bale weight for the crop you're in. So that's nice. The very fact that it's telling you the weight of the bale as you're going along, or the last bale, gives you a bit of an indication. Sometimes, something I've never really thought about before, you're slowing down, thinking you're making a heavier bale, or speeding up. Is that pushing more through faster? It's all guesswork unless you've got load cells. So under here, there's 4 of these. I'm not going to climb onto the front ones, but you can see here, load cells there and there. And there's 2 more at the other side. So by having 4 load cells on there, it's giving you a fairly accurate measurement of the bale weight. That is an optional extra, I believe. But having that, it does just give you the confidence that if you are just trying to just charge on a little bit, thinking, am I making a better or worse bale? Knowing the weight of the bale that you just produced gives you the confidence. And for that, as I've just been learning the controls, listening to the different beeps it makes, getting familiar with it, what it's done is it's given me the confidence to be able to crack on. So to start with, I was just baling at like 7k, nice and steady, so that I'm familiar with the controls. Obviously, on a light crop like this, I'd normally be baling much faster. Looking at the bale weights, I've just gone up to 13.5k from 7k, and the bale weights have remained pretty consistent. It's given me the information back to know that I've got confidence that I'm not making a bad bale as I'm pushing on faster, or it's telling me that I do need to slow down because I am pushing on too fast and we're not getting the bale weights we want to achieve. So I think having the load cells on there is great for an operator, because we don't get, the only feedback you normally get when you're baling is walking up to a bale and sticking your knee in it. Well, there's not a lot of science in that, is there really? But having the weights is ace. Really like that feature. So I don't think anyone watching, no matter what colour, brand, whatever baler you're using at the moment, in the crop conditions that we're in, which is pretty light, pretty dry, almost dusty in places, because it has really, really dried out over this weekend, could be too grumpy about that bale shape. So we're just coming to the second field now. You can see this has got herbal ley in it, full of chicory. So you can see the chicory stalks here. So you imagine that now like cow. Not great stuff, not that palatable. What we find is our cattle will pick through and leave a load of this in the bunkers. So what we're going to do is put the knives on now in the baler, so we can chop all that up into pieces about that big. So all the material will get chopped. And it's much more likely then that the cows will intake that. If this gets left up much longer and starts drying out, it goes really hard and strawy, then this can really pierce the film on the bales. But at the moment, that's still very moist inside. It's not too too pokey for the plastic. Benefit of this baler, film on film and 3D wrapping, is we're getting more coverage of wrap because we've already got 3 rolls of wrap going around the bale as opposed to the net, so it should hold that. Sometimes this will start poking through the net, so I'm hoping that film on film will be better on this type of crop. Joe's just going to show me now how to put the knives in. So we're on the lock screen at the moment. Are we going to unlock it, Joe?
Yeah, unlock the baler, Rick.
Oh, here.
That's it. Press that, and they're in.
Is that it?
That's it.
So on our baler, what we have to do, we have to flick a little valve over on the front of the baler, then operate the hydraulics, then close that down, and that's what lifts the knives in. On this system, Epic, we can just do it with the isobus. So that's a massive improvement. Basically what's going to happen is as we feed the crop in now, it's going to hit the knives. You'll see on some of our previous videos, the knives I've shown you in our baler, passes through that and it chops it. That's going to get to 90% of the bale full, and then it's going to drop the knife down automatically. So the last 10% of the bale just get a full crop wrap around it, and that's going to hold the bale together, give a better bale shape. When you go to unwrap your bale in winter, rather than the whole thing falling apart in like loads of little bits, it'll keep its shape, hold it together while you get it into your feed wagon or your feed bunker. So that's kind of a nice feature, that we've got that bale being held together, especially when we're feeding out. So Joe's left me to it now. It's very similar to the controls we've got on our existing Kuhn baler. So a lot of the icons are relevant to what I already know. A lot of extra functionality on here, a lot more going on, obviously being the Combi than just a baler. So a little bit getting my head around. Things like when we get to a position where film's due to stop, or film's run out, or resetting it through sequence if I want to get out and sort a film issue. Which, to be fair, we've not had many film issues at all. It's been pretty flawless so far. So yeah, really good. Great insight from him. One of the things I would say is, when you've got someone else in the cab with you, on this thing, just getting, especially when you're learning and getting your head into it, it's a bit more distracting when there's 2 of you sat in here. So he's happy that I know what I'm doing. I can get myself out of any problems and navigate all the screens. So he's left me to it to get on with it now. So I think now I can get my headspace into baling, get into a nice sequence and a rhythm, and yeah, really kind of enjoying it. It's going really, really well. Really pleased with the bale shapes. We're getting good dense bales. That last bale just kicked out then was 666 kilos. So that's pretty epic. We have had some up over 700 on the damper parts of the field, where the crop was heavier and a bit damper. So Paul's just turned up now, so he's brought some more rolls of film. We can get about 100-ish bales worth out of the film we're carrying on the machine. So he's brought some more film down, and obviously come in to have a look at the baler as well. All the way through the process, the little display here has got a picture of the baler showing every part of the operation that the baler's going through. So you know exactly where it is in its cycle, what it's up to. It's a good little system, it's quite intuitive. There are a few of the icons are a bit confusing or difficult to determine. There's a couple of things I'd change. But on the whole, pretty simple, pretty intuitive, especially if you've driven Kuhn baler before. The one thing that perhaps would be nicer is on the touchscreen soft keys, if it was a much bigger soft key for the bale kick-off. Just be a bit careful where I kick these. The field does just slope down a little bit to this wood. So we're really getting through this field now. This is the sort of 50-acre field, the biggest field we're going to do today. Thought before it gets dark, I'd just have a quick walk round. Just want to stretch my legs as well, really. Done about 160 bales so far, so had a real good chance to put it through his paces. Massive thank you to Joe from Agri and all the guys at Kuhn UK for letting us have the baler today. It's great having Joe sat in the cab with us, teaching us the control, showing us some of the icons, doing all that, getting me up and running with it. But really nice then to be left alone, get on with it, get into a rhythm, and it's not until you really start just using it yourself that it starts to flow. And flow it is. It's kicking out the bales. I'm not timing myself, I'm not doing any pub numbers or anything like that, but you know, we must be kicking out around about 50 an hour. Now I've really got into it. I'm guessing, going fairly steady, not pushing it hard, just getting a feel for it. Really good. So the crop we're in at the moment, this was mown on Saturday. It's quite dry. It's dried out quite a lot. And even in this dry crop, we're packing 580 to 600 kilos of bale, you know, and this is by no means wet silage. You know, this is high dry matter. It's going to make really nice stuff, to be fair. So a quick look now at the bales. As I'd expect with the Kuhn baler, you know, the front end of this combi is exactly what we've already got pretty well. Bale shape's excellent. As long as you're feeding it a decent swath, you know, you can't argue with that. I don't care what colour, brand, loyalties you have to balers. That's a pretty sharp edge. I don't think you can argue with that, no matter what balers your preference is. 3D wrapping, putting that extra, as you'll see on the clips there, throwing that extra round the shoulder. So this is the part that's taking the most pressure. It's putting extra on this part of it. Great. And the fact that we're obviously barrel wrapping it first with film means that we've got those extra 3 layers that we're putting onto it before we start wrapping, all in UV barrier film. I think it's pretty excellent. Loving the fact that this baler takes the same wrap for the binding as it does for the wrapping part element, so I've not got to take 2 different types of wrap with me. That's a real plus point. It's a pretty spot here though. It's a shame it's a bit cloudy. The sunset you get here, it's like in a little bowl with the hills all around us. It's just a pretty place to come, whether you're working or not. It's just like one of my favourite fields to come and bale up here, to be honest. Tractors, obviously we're on the 215, there's plenty of power. There'll be no hassle with the 185. Smaller tractors would probably, I don't see any reason why we wouldn't put it with a 130. It's taking no effort, we're not having many revs on there, just chuffing away real nicely. So really pleased, having a lovely day. It's dead nice to get some new kit to have a play with. It's fantastic. Pickup reel, as I probably mentioned earlier in the video, just flawless. The Kuhn system, I don't think it's beaten in the market, to be honest. There's no flat or dead spots. It's picking it up on the camless, taking it in, those augers coming through where it's then taking it through and grabbing it along to the knife section. It just feeds so well. Little clippy you'll have seen where I had the camera pointing down at the pickup reel. There was no challenge for it. This crop at this time of year, you know, we're in late August, on a dry summer, it's not a heavy enough crop to really show you what that thing can chew through. It's epic. I've not had a single blockage all day. We have got the clutch system up there. We can declutch, take all the drive out of the rotor and the pickup reel to allow the baler to make space for itself. I've not had to use that once today, to be fair. It's just gobbled everything up. When Paul came over earlier, one thing he noticed as well, loving the fact that, you know, in here, our spare film, put the waste in there. Because the plastic's already been deboxed and put in here because it's all nice and protected, we didn't need to leave the cardboard on it. I can leave that packaging at home for recycling. Got my plastic up here. The only waste I've got out of the baler when I'm finishing and using the stuff up is a cardboard tubes that can pop in. Any little bits of tags of plastic, pop in there. We're not leaving any waste in the field. It really, really bugs me when you go out to a field where someone's been baling and there's just litter everywhere. Like, why should that be the client's job, or the lad that's, or girl that's chasing you and loading bales? Why should they have to keep getting out to put the tidy your waste up? Being able to have all the stuff contained in there, for me, it's a neat, tidy job. Just show you bales again here. So obviously that's just been through the film binding. We've got 3 layers on there. It's covering that really well, holding it dead tight. There's a pre-stretch on there. there's a lot of tension, a heck of a lot of tension in that, holding the bales really nicely, just kissing over the edge again. So just that radius where most of the pressure is on the wrap, we've got it just kissing over the edge of that. So I'm pretty sold on the concept, to be honest. I think it's good. I'm putting 3 layers of wrap on there from a binding point of view. They're really easy to change. You'll have seen earlier in the video where we can lift this side hood up, drop that down, and that comes down to a nice chest height, easy to load. And we got 2 rolls on there, did about, I think around about 125 bales, putting 3 revolutions on it. So gives you an idea. And what we're doing is putting, because with 3D wrapping, we can stick 6 layers, 5 or 6 layers on the back of it. We've been putting 5 layers on with a 3D because we've already got these 3 from binding. So the whole concept is we're putting probably a little bit more plastic on in total, but not using any net. So I think they can make cracking bales. I was unsure whether it was required or not, the whole concept of the 3D wrapping, film on film, but actually seeing it in action and the benefit of how well protected that is with 3 revolutions before we even start, I think it's probably game changing for quality of forage conservation. So I'm pleased with that idea. I'm struggling to find negatives with it, and I don't want this. This is about us making a decision to purchase a piece of equipment or not, and this review is. I want it to be a fair representation of my views and thoughts of this kit, and I am struggling to find anything that I'd really change with it, to be honest. One idea, if we're looking for a few things that could be developed on the machine, we're not using net today. Nice to have some spare net there. The great positive about having a new roll of net with you, or taking a roll of net, if there was any dramas on the binding system, you've seen the binding system here, where they're rotating 90 degrees when they deploy the film. There's a few moving parts, there's a few bits and bobs going on. This is a 1-day demo, a trial for us today. So this isn't a long-term demo where I can put it through its paces for a few seasons. The reliability of that, I have no way of questioning it, but if there is moving parts there, if there was a problem with it, the very fact that we can go to netting, which is obviously a much simpler system because it's just feeding through here, up over the feed rollers and into the machine, very little to go wrong. If there was any dramas with the film binding, we have a backup. The only thing I'd say with that, if I was on straw or hay and just netting it, I've got nowhere on here that I'm aware of to put a spare roll. And 1 roll of net obviously isn't enough to carry for a day. And if you've got a part roll, then you still need a full roll to take with you. So it would be nice to have a holder, some sort of cradle system up here. I know we've got the tensioner for the net and stuff perhaps in the way. But yeah, it would be nice just to have something there in this area to hold some spare net. And ideally 2. At the moment we've got 1. We can get 1 spare roll on our fixed chamber, non-combi. Again on that, if I've got a part roll, I want to use that up. And if I've got a big day ahead of me, nice to take 2 rolls. So having something that would take 1 or 2 rolls built up out over here of net would be a huge advantage for me. And I think if that's not an option, it's something we could fabricate ourselves, but that'd be nice to have on it. I think the camera kit, as I've already mentioned, would be a good thing to have. Just if there was any drama between bales kicking over and transferring, checking when your film's beeping and it's having a problem with you, making sure that as you start off again, it's gone with no drama. It has all been pretty flawless today. Obstacles when getting in and out, doing shunts into fields, checking there's not a bale behind you. What I find with baling is it all goes really well until something distracts you and you get out of sequence or something goes wrong. What I would say on this system, because everything's pretty well automated, although other than I'm keeping the bale on the back and manually kicking that off where I want to, so it's not rolling away or getting in the way of something. Once the sequence is in motion, there is very little operator input. So it is easier not to get confused. You know, it won't let you move a door, do this, do that, do the other, unless it's finished that part of the sequence, even if you're in a sort of semi-manual mode with it. So it is quite easy to operate from that point of view. It's bloody good, to be fair. It's bloody good. Whether one of these joins our fleet next year will very much depend on the numbers, really. Whether we can sort of get our heads around, you know, the inevitable cost of what these machines are, and the cost to change our existing. I think this would be a great addition to our fleet. It's just going to come down to number crunching, really, to make sure we can make it work and make it pay, and it's the viable option for us. But yeah, so far, yeah, I'm pretty blown away with it. You will just notice, just point out the baler, I've got it, as just mentioned earlier, on the hitch rather than the drawbar. So it's on the hitch rather than the drawbar, like we run ours currently on the drawbar. I'm not finding any dramas turning. I'm getting round all right. But what I generally do when I'm baling anyway, as you'll notice across the field, I'll go up in alternate lines. I'm sure many of you guys do that. So I'll work the field in one direction, skip in a row, and then just work the field back again. It means the corners are really nice and gradual when I get to the end. And also if the rake's just flicked and caught anything, it gives me a bit more room for manoeuvre at the ends, just for a bit of a hooving up job, you know, just for keeping the ends tidy and making sure we're leaving a nice tidy job for the client. Well, I've got another probably hour left to do with it. It's quite sad, really. Really, really enjoying it. Just nice to have a go with a different kit. I wish I got some more to do tomorrow, to be honest. So there we go, that's the end of demo day. Last bale. Some light on there. So that's the last bale coming off now. It's a big one. That's because I'm going past with the McCormick. Load of bales out the field, straight on it. No crows, get them shifted. Yeah, one thing just dawned on me, obviously when we get to the end of a field with our baler at the moment, if we've got a small bale in there, even if it's a half bale size, I can net it and just whack it out the back. With this, with the bale transfer, difficult just to know how much you've got in the bale chamber. Obviously it only starts to register when you get up to 80%. So if you had a really small bale to eject the last out of it, it may just get trapped in the transfer. I've not tried it, and it's dark now and late. I didn't want to sort of mess around, so I just knocked it out of the auto setting and went slowly down the last row. I knew I was getting pretty full, and I got to maximum bale size. When it gets to maximum bale size, whether you're in automatic or not, it instigates the netting when it hits that max size. So that's just what's happened. I did manage to get through to the end of the row on it. It's chuffed out probably the biggest bale of the day. And that is proper solid. So that worked. If I got like, you know, another 5 or 10 yards left, then it would have been probably a bit tricky. Not really sure how we solve that. I'm guessing it was probably more difficult in this little field. I've come into a little 2-acre field to finish off, so I hadn't got the measure of how often I'm getting a bale. If I was on a bigger field, I'm guessing I can just judge that we should be getting a bale now and just cut it a bit short, make one slightly smaller to average out the next one to make sure we get to the end of the row. So there's just that trickery to think about. There's a bit more to think about from that point of view, just as you're finishing off. But yeah, it's gone absolutely cracking. No dramas with it whatsoever. Really, really pleased. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope we've given you a fair, balanced review of the Kuhn FP 3135 Intelliwrap. We're really pleased with it. It's done a really good job for us today. Just like to say big thanks to Joe at Right Agri and the guys down at Kuhn UK in Telford for sending this out to us to let us have a go. Really appreciate it. And if you've enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Any questions you've got in the comments, please drop them on there. More than happy to answer your questions. Thanks very much for watching. Good night.